Okay, hi everyone. I'm Angela Booth and I'm part of the scholarly publishing team here at the University of Newcastle. I would just like to start the session by acknowledging the traditional lands of the Pambalong clan of the Awabakal Nation that I'm on today. I would like to acknowledge and pay my respect to the elders past, present and emerging, and would like to extend this acknowledgement and pay my respects to any Aboriginal and or Torres Strait Islander people here today. During the presentation, I'll turn my video off, but I'll pop it back on afterwards for questions. Okay, so we'll get started. So welcome to this introduction of Nova. Today we'll cover what Nova and open access is. I'll show you some search tips and tricks and explain why sometimes you might not be able to open a resource in Nova, and I'll show you how to recognise Nova records in a library search. I've left some time at the end for questions, but feel free to pop them in the chat. I'm happy to answer them as we go along. Okay, so what is Nova? Nova is the University of Newcastle's institutional repository. It provides central storage, management and access to the research outputs of the university's staff and students, and helps promote our research by making it accessible, searchable and discoverable. Resources in Nova include theses, journal publications, conference proceedings and papers, books, book chapters and grey literature like reports and working papers. So there are over 38,000 resources in Nova, so it can be a great source for peer-reviewed literature. So what is open access? Open access provides access to peer-reviewed research without the need for users or their institutions to hold a subscription to the journal. And it's based on the idea that research should be made freely available to everyone so it can be discovered and used. There are different ways publications can be made open access, and while I won't go into too much detail about that today, I do want to touch on it briefly because it helps to have that understanding and how Nova facilitates this. So here we can see that there are 3 pathways to open access. The gold pathway means that it's free for anyone to access at any time. And you'll usually see this orange symbol or this unlock symbol on the publication. That's a quick way to identify if a publication is open access. The green pathway can be when an author deposits a particular version of their paper into the repository. So you'll see this when we go into the Nova search. I'll show you what this will look like. And the conventional ways when users or institutions require a subscription to access the publication, and people without that subscription won't be able to read the publication. So we help to make publications by the University of Newcastle's authors open access where possible, and we often use the green open access for that. And if you're interested in learning more about open access, I believe there'll be a library webinar on it in the coming weeks. And we also have a series of events running during Open Access Week, and that's from the 25th of October. So keep an eye out on the library website for those dates. Okay, so where can you find Nova and all these resources? Nova can be accessed from the library homepage, so I'll just take you there. Okay. So Nova can be accessed if you scroll down here, and we'll open that up. This will take you to the main homepage, and on here we have some highlighted publications that you can scroll through. You can also click on them and that will take you to the actual publication. We have our tweets that will appear on the right-hand side. And while we're on the homepage, I'll show you where you can deposit works into the repository. So this can be for publications or theses. So if you're depositing a publication, you need to complete the online deposit form, and the same for theses. You do need to make sure you're completing the right form because they go into different areas. And if you ever get stuck, here are our contact details just down here. Okay, so I'll quickly show you some of the different ways you can search in Nova. It really does depend on how you're searching and what you're looking for as to how you do it. So hopefully I'll cover the main ways that you would look for resources in Nova. There's a search bar across the top, and also here the browse feature. You can search by title, creator, subject, or resource type. So I'll show you an example for the title. If you know the title of what you're looking for, you can pop it in here, which I'll just do. What will happen sometimes is there will be some spaces at the end of the title, so it's just best to remove those spaces before you do the search. And you'll see that there are plenty of results that have come up, but it hasn't actually shown us the title that we're looking for. And that's because Nova doesn't recognize the words like a, and the, or similar words. So if you're finding that you can't find the title and that it's not bringing you the results, it's just best to remove those letters from the beginning. And also sometimes with longer titles, it's best to shorten the end of it. So you can just delete a few words off the end. And even for things like characters like semicolons or dashes, sometimes that can get in the way of the searches with the longer titles. So just be aware if you're searching via title, just to shorten it down sometimes or remove the A. So I'll remove that off here, and that appears first. So I'll open up the record and we can see what a record would look like in Nova. So every record will have the citation information down the right-hand side. So it's got the title, it'll have the publisher, DOI, the abstract, the date, the authors, obviously, and some extra citation information that's relevant. So every record will have this information down the right. And on the left is the downloadable link or the PDF to the publication. You can also access that by scrolling down, and it will say, yeah, the publisher version, that it's open access, and you can download it there. So if you click on that tile, that will actually bring up the PDF. And in this case, you can see straight away that this is an open access publication. It's got that orange unlock symbol there. So that's free for you to save and use. If we go back to browse, you can also search via the author, which is a creator search. So here you would do the surname for the author first. So I'll do Daniel Nyberg. So I'm looking for all publications that we hold in the repository for Daniel Nyberg. And you'll see here that Daniel has 2 listings, and that depends on how the authors listed their name in the publication. So it's just something to be aware of. There may be more publications, so you can click on each of them just to check if that is actually Daniel Nyberg's or a different author with that surname. So if I click on Daniel's here, you'll see this will bring up all of his publications in Nova, and you can filter down the left-hand side. Filtering by full text may not always work, so it's best to use these other filters. But you can have a look at any co-authors that you might be interested in, or if you're just looking for a specific resource type, you can click on journals or book chapters, and likewise with the date. So these filters can come in handy depending on what you're looking for. So we'll click into one of Daniel's papers here. And you can see this looks different from the other one that we just opened up. This isn't an open access publication, but it still contains the same citation information down the right. So every record will have that. If we open up this, we will have our cover sheet on this. And then when you scroll down, there's the actual publication itself. So this one has used the green open access. So we're able to make that available to people using this version of the paper. We'll just go back to all of Daniel's. So you'll see here that some of the publications do look different, and that's because they're using those different pathways to open access. I'll just quickly show you this one. Now, this is a record that perhaps has an embargo period on that, and we're not able to make the PDF available to download, but we will still hold the citation information. So if you see a record that doesn't have the actual paper available, that's why. So there might be an embargo period on this. So the next search I wanted to show you was a subject search. So to do that, you'll go down to subject and type in a subject that we might be looking for, drought. And that's brought up 61 objects. So when doing a subject search, this will search in the keyword field of a record. So I'll show you what that means. It's searching that word in this field only. In a minute, I'll show you how to do a search that will let you search for the word through all of the fields. But just so you're aware, if you want to narrow the scope of your search, or similarly, if you want to broaden it, you would do it a different way. So using the subject search, that will limit it to just the words that have been put in the keyword for that publication. So if we go back to here, if you're looking for publications that are on the subject of drought, you can also use these filters down the left-hand side again. So this can give you some different terms to use. Can also show you some of the creators or the authors that are publishing in this area. And you can also limit it again if you're just looking for only journal articles or just theses. So that's another way to do that. Another way to search via, if you were just looking for a subject on Thesis, is to also use this, change the view at the top. So up here we have the global view, and that will search everything in the repository. But here you can choose research data or theses. So you may be looking for only theses related to drought, and you'll just perform the same search. You can do that here. Or again, you could also do that how we've just done down here. And that will give you the theses related to drought. A benefit of doing it this way is that you can actually get a few more filters down the left-hand side. So you can restrict this to certain degree types. So you might only be looking at masters or PhDs. So that's kind of a handy way to know if you're in these views, you can have some extra filters, to search down the side. So that might be helpful. So if I do drought as a subject in the main search bar, that's going to search every field in the citation information. So this will return more results. So previously we had 61 results and this is returning 507. So that's just going to give you more broader results. Another way to search using this search bar is by phrase. So if you're looking for to search for a phrase, the only way to really do this would be in that search bar, and you have to include the inverted commas. So if we search for climate change, I'll show you what that would look like. So this will bring up all of the resources again, if we're in the global view, that relate to climate change. So you can filter again down the side by different subjects, different authors, and different resources. Now, if we take away those, it will search on those words individually. So you're going to get anything that might have climate or change, not necessarily that whole phrase together. I might just check if we have any questions before I move on to the next part of the library search.
Just a question about sharing your slides with the link to the webinar.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fine.
Yeah, cool.
That's no problems at all. We can make them available.
No worries.
Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, you can now see Nova records in the library search. So that's really good to be able to start your search in the library search, because that contains all the records or all the collection that the university has, and you can search that in the one place. So I'll move out to there now and I'll show you how that would look like and how you can identify a Nova record in there. So here's the main search bar. This might be where you first start your search to see what resources you can find. Okay, let me just pop a title. So I'm looking for this title and I'll pop that in there. Okay, and you can see that there are two results. And the first one is the record that's held by the library, like in the library catalogue. So be able to open that up and access it, providing the library holds a subscription to that publication or to that journal. And the second one is the record that's in Nova. And the only way to really tell if it's in Nova is to click on the preview button, just scroll down and look at the source. And that will say Nova. So to actually get to the publication in Nova, you need to click on the title and that will take you straight there. So that can be quite helpful if there are publications that the library may not have a subscription to. So this is another way just to keep in mind when you're searching that there are other ways to access those publications you might be looking for. You can also access Nova here. So you might be starting your search in the library search and then you can move across to Nova here. You don't have to get out of there. No,
Just got a question, Ange.
Yes.
Just to clarify, do you need approval to access green records?
So would who need approval? The user looking for it, a student or a staff looking for?
I would assume a student, but if you could give us
both. No, you don't. If it's on Nova, you don't need any approval to open that up. So you can we'll show you, go back to Daniel's. Oops, help you if I spelled Daniel's name right, Nyberg. We'll go back to his publications and no, so this was an example of the green open access. And if it's within Nova, no. And if there's the PDF there, then no, you don't need certain access or rights or anything like that, because we've already assessed that and made that available to you. Also don't need to sign in up here.
I was just about to say that we get a lot of people saying I can't sign in to Nova, but yeah, that's for admin. Yeah, that's for admin, and so you shouldn't need to do that. So as providing a record, a link to the PDF appears here, everyone will have access to that. That's not a problem. Or the other thing I didn't mention before while we were in here is this quick collection, which might be handy to know. So if you were looking for a certain subject, we'll go back to drought, and you were doing an assignment on drought and you wanted to find some resources, you can use this quick collection to add a collection together of what you're looking for. Obviously there's 507, so as soon as you start scrolling down and moving through the pages down here, you end up losing track quite quickly of where the resources are that you liked before. So you can do that by just adding it here, and we might add a couple. And then once you've gone through the 507 resources, that will give you a nice little list of just the ones that you've decided are relevant to what you're looking for. And you can save that and email it to yourself, so you have a list of those citations there as well. So that's actually quite a handy little tip to know, or tool to use when you're in Nova as well. All right, I'll take you back to here. So these are our contact details. Please, if you ever have any questions, email or phone us or tweet us and we'll happily get back to you. And do we have any other questions? Yes, we have. Are the citations that are emailed able to be open in EndNote?
I believe they are. I believe you can download them into EndNote, but I have not actually done that myself.
Can we open a record just to see if there's like a download feature or
there won't be, there's not actually in here. See, it lets you save it. Let's have a look. Just move my screen out of the way, sorry. Yeah, okay. So it looks like you can.
As a text, yeah.
Yeah, as a text. So, I mean, it's possible that I don't have EndNote open, that it's not doing that. But you could go through each record, like each publication in that way, and add that to your collection, or just download the citation. I believe you can do APA. No. But you can change that in EndNote itself.
Also, is there a quick way to search for Thesis in Nova and Library Search?
There is in Nova. So you can search for Theses either by changing the global view to Theses and then performing the searches in the same way. So either your kind of topic or keywordy search up here, or phrases, or then these ones down here by title, the author, or the subject. It'll search the same way, and that way it gives you a few more of those filters on the left-hand side. But if you search the entire repository, and we'll do drought again. You can let that bring up the results and then go down the left, and you can just click on Theses there, and that will give you the theses as well. Now in library search, I'm not familiar if you can do that. Do you know, Ben?
I was just thinking you may be able to limit resource type on the filters on the left-hand side if it's available up the top.
At the top?
Yeah, journal. I mean, nothing's there, but it would be under content type if Thesis was available.
Yeah. If you were looking for theses that are via like University of Newcastle authored theses, I would start a search in Nova because that's where they will be. I can check a thesis here. We can do a quick check and see if this would appear. But whether or not you can start the search that way, I'm not too sure. So it appears here.
Sorry.
Yeah.
On the side, you can see content type is dissertation / thesis. So you could limit it to thesis in library search as well.
Yep. You just have, I think you just have to perform the search first and then you can limit it. I don't think you can.
Yeah, but if you had a thesis in mind, I would definitely recommend going straight to Nova to find that.
Yep. And you can check here again. So that was the first one that came up. You know that, if you know the thesis you were looking for, you could, I guess, do it either way. I would, again, like Ben said, search in Nova first, but it does appear here and it tells you that it's in Nova. So that would be probably how I would do that.
So would a student or anyone be able to find the articles that are in Nova using Google Scholar?
Yes, you can. So these, yes, essentially you can.
But again, I think I would prefer to go straight to Nova because you'll get all kinds of other things in Google.
Yeah, you will. I mean, if you're looking to have a more efficient search results, I would be definitely going through Nova or the library catalogue. And again, it really depends on what you're looking for as to, are you looking for a specific resource or are you looking just for some general topic information to kind of guide where you're going with your assessment or what you're researching. So it really does depend on what you're looking for. I would, if you know what you're looking for, I'd come to the library search or Nova first.
Great. If there are any other questions, pop them in the chat. I might launch the second poll if that's okay with you, Ange.
Yeah, sure. Yep.
Just to get a bit of feedback. And Kieran just wants to see the EndNote steps again, please.
Yep, sure. Let's go back here. Okay, so if you've opened up the resource that you're looking for, you can add that here. There's a little citation icon down the bottom. And that will then give you those options that you can do. So you can do your plain text, EndNote, and then download that. And that should give you the file right there to open up into EndNote. And that would be the same if you were doing the collection search as well. So you could potentially have your collection there and then save them to EndNote. It's going to bring up the same. Oops. The same ones there. So does that help with the EndNote and downloading those citations?
Yeah, Karen says thanks.
Yeah, no worries.
All right. If there are no other questions, I think we can leave it there. Don't forget, we'll send out a link to the recording of the webinar to everyone that registered. And thanks, Ange, for doing this webinar. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Oh, hang on. Could you do the quick collection save again? Bernadette just wants.
Yep, no problems at all. So
got in there in time, Bernadette.
Don't have to watch the whole thing now. We can just go to that. So we'll do climate change. And here, I'll just move my little screen out of the way. So here we'll give you all of the resources again related to climate change. And if you're interested in them, there's obviously a lot, 950. So you lose track pretty quickly of where you're at. So you would just click on the blue button here, and that will automatically add them to the collection. So you can just scroll through and you can move in and out of resources too. So you can open them up, go read the abstract. Yes, that's what I want. I'm going to add that down here on the right. There's a little blue icon, add that to my collection. Go back to those main searches that's added, scroll back through. And you can work your way through the pages and add them as you go. So you might know straight away from the look and the title that that's what you're interested in and click it, or you might need to open it up and add that through there. And then once you're done, just click on there and that will give you all of the ones that you've selected.
Awesome. I also just put the link to more help from the library in the chat. If anybody has any questions or they think of something later, feel free to jump on chat or book a librarian or contact Nova directly and we'll be able to sort you out.
Beautiful. Thanks, Ben.
No worries. Thanks, everyone.
Okay. Thank you, Al. Bye.
Bye.